Hi guys, Keith Arkenberg Farms. It is now the first week in August. So for us around here, it's a really big time of year because it's a time that we have to start planting and, more importantly, starting our transplants for our fall and winter crops. So let me show you. But first, don't forget to head over to arkenbergfarms.com. Scroll down the bottom. Digital tools and training down there. Whole bunch of cool stuff. Spreadsheets. Our nice Arkenberg Farm shirts. Not this one, but the leaf shirts. And a whole bunch of other cool stuff down there. We also have our side openers available. And if you're up towards the West Bend, Wisconsin, Chicago area, Mother Earth News Fair will be up there September 15th, 17th, third weekend of September. I'll be up there speaking on Saturday. So go ahead, get your tickets. Please use the affiliate link down below. Help support our farm, and I hope to see you all there. Also, check out my fall and winter planting schedule and see how we do it. It just started raining, amazingly enough. So, when it comes to your fall, and most importantly, your overwinter production, it really takes some good planning. That's why we're tearing this tunnel down right now. Not tearing it down, but clearing it out and getting it ready. Is because we have to be prepared for the space to get our stuff in. All of your winter transplantings and direct seedings really depend on a thing they call your Persephone date. Your Persephone date is the last day of the year that you have more than 10 hours of sunlight. After that, pretty much the growth of all your plants slow to a crawl or completely stop. Really depend on your region, more in the north than further down south. But that's the date you really need to base off of. That's why these are getting ready to come out too. So the way I do it is I've trialed and errored it over a couple years. And our Persephone date is right about mid-November. So from there I work backwards. So that puts 1 month back from that, which would be mid-October. That is our last plant date for lettuce. And very close to the time we'll also direct seed our overwintered beets and carrots as well. You go back another month and a half before that, and that's when you need to start getting your other field crops out in the field and start direct seeding as well. Not necessarily in the field, because I'm going to duck into my greenhouses over the winter. They're great to have, and that's why. You can also use other season extension methods out in the field that work just as well, but I don't think we'll get into that in this video. It's raining harder, so I'm going to duck into the greenhouse now. So it's going to get a little noisier in here, but I'll just speak up. So we go back to our September 1st plant date. That's a very important date for planting any of your longer term stuff. That's when we get our broccoli, our cabbages, our kale, that kind of stuff out in the field. But in order to do that, we have to think another month ahead to what is this week, to starting our transplants. This week we're going to do just that. We're going to start our broccoli, our cabbages, our kale. We also do Brussels sprouts, which I think I've got this down right. I'll find out again this year because I'm going to bring them inside. 2 weeks before this, so halfway through. So add another 6 months onto the time frame I was talking to you about. And that's very important because they have to have enough time to grow and develop before they lose all their light and they stop growing altogether. So that's what the plan really is right now. We're going to go ahead and get our starts up and going. And I've kind of started to work out a plan for out here in the field. I will show you that to you right now. I have an overall spreadsheet of how I kind of want to do my planning that has all of my beds laid out on it. Bed numbers and the overall general plan. So my 4 greenhouses are off to the left, now up near the top. So we've got 4A, 4B, and 5. So we rotate these in between these 3 rotations every year. So our greens, our tomatoes, and our cucumbers, and then the stuff associated with it. So plot 5 right here, we currently have tomatoes. We're going to get overwinter beets in those where they're at, and then also transplant beets in there as well. We're going to start some more cucumbers to see if they work, and then our last plantings of our lettuce will go in there. You also have to consider what you can see afterwards where it says also like tomato to beet over winter to zucchini. So the important part is I need to plan for the crop that's going to follow those as well and make sure it's going to be out of the way. Our cucumber tunnel this year is turning into overwintered carrots on both sides, and then lettuce down the middle. We'll plant those during our September planting. And then 4B that we're standing in right now, I'll turn you around here in a second. We'll have garlic down one side, overwintered onion sets on the other side, and then all the way down we'll have kale and Brussels sprouts and cabbage and broccoli. That'll give us a good winter crop out of this one, but we have to keep in mind we need these out of here to get our tomatoes in. As I showed you, we'll have garlic down these two beds at the end. If I run out, I'll plant more overwintered onions down here. This whole side will be overwintered onions. We'll give them a little bit more space. We'll give only 3 rows and then follow the standard, 3-4 inches, what have you. Then down the middle, we've got our longer term crops, our broccoli, our Brussels sprouts, the kalettes that I really want to try, which I've got to remember to start or they're never going to make it. And then the cabbages, and I think it said broccoli, kale, yeah, all those will be in here. We'll plant them in sections running down. And that's where you really got to think ahead as well. Since this is going to be the tomato house next year, I need these 2 beds all the way down the center of this to be fully empty by the time it's to plant my tomatoes. I found really good that I can interplant my tomatoes in to spinach, but I cannot plant them into these other things. All of this other stuff will pretty much be gone. The kale will bolt even if you hold it over winter. The broccoli will be out. The Brussels sprouts will be out. The kalettes will be out. So this will give me a space to plant into. As soon as I can start planting spinach in here, I'll put down 2 beds of spinach. When it comes time to plant the tomatoes, I'll just drill holes and plant them directly in the ground where the tomatoes go. So that'll work out great. And we'll head over to 4A and kind of talk about what the plan is over there. So 4A is my falling apart cucumbers and zucchini. This zucchini's past its prime. We're still getting a little production on it, and we just kind of need the more zucchinis right now, so we've left them be. Cucumbers, bacterial wilt, all the fun stuff. So we're just gonna limp these along until they're time to come out. That's where the planning really comes in good, and really is what you have to know, because I'm gonna need this tunnel starting about the 1st of September for my green production. Both of these beds of cucumbers have to come out. That's where my first beds of greens are going to go. Don't exactly remember what I had down the side here. Oh yeah, overwintered carrots here, which is no problem because the zucchinis are all but gone. And here, where there's actually nothing. That's the other thing. I need to make sure to get all of this out a week ahead of time so I can really turn the overhead irrigation back on and really get the soil life kicking back up. You need to do the same thing over there in 4A as well. I need to get the soil re-moistened all the way through. I need to come in here and do my fertilization, and then I need to hit some agri-grow to get the biologics back up before winter comes. It's especially important in the tunnel next door because it's been dry for a while. So I really just need to get everything back activated. It's all there waiting. It just needs to be woken up and brought back to life. And then finally, perhaps the most complicated one is a tomato tunnel, because I turn this tomato tunnel into beds of beets over there where the tomatoes are. So I need to know when to finally just give up on the tomatoes, take them out, and then plant my crop of beets in here. That's especially important to get the overwinter established, and also the transplanted ones are going to be really important as well because I'll get those this fall. These zucchinis are done. They just aren't producing at all. They've had enough. We're going to take those out. I'm going to do an experiment and plant cucumbers here and see if I can't stretch cucumbers to like December, because that would be awesome. Then comes my last plantings of my lettuce in here. So I've got this bed here, and then where the eggplants are. I would like to go from here over to here when it comes towards our last planting date. I don't want to plant them all at the same time. Remember, the October 15th is what I call my last planting date. So I want to stagger these by about 2 weeks. So 1st of October, we'll plant one here, Middle of October we'll plant one here, and then I want to try to plant one week later to see if it'll sit and just wait for me, because last year it all sized up too quick because the temperatures outside were a little bit warmer pre-winter than they were later in the winter. So I don't want to have that problem when it comes towards springtime, because we'll actually be harvesting these 3 beds up until almost May before our production really kicks in the old cucumber tunnel in 4A or out in the field. So that's especially important. The only other part of our overwintering plan and our fall and winter crop plan is actually out here in the field. We did a lot last year in the field, had good success, some not good success, but I'll show you what we're going to do out here. Now we're slowly clearing out the beds up here to get them ready to transition over. So we've got a bed here. I need to get some radishes in. Radishes I find best about 1st of September, so they're not in the hot and they're just really not cooking. We'll do some regular radishes, some Easter eggs, some reds, some French breakfast. Probably do 2 full beds of those. That'll get us through the winter. They store great a long time. I also have my watermelon radishes and my black Neros. I'm going to do 2 rows of those on this single bed here. And then if I can find my daikon seeds, and we need more daikons, which I'm not sure, I'll just kind of have to look, we'll do a full bed of those, and then I'll come over and do some outdoor spinach planting as well. These 2 beds, the watermelon radishes and the Neros, need to go in the ground as soon as the seed shows up. I just ordered it today. These ones will go out when they go out. So early October on your more storage, long-term, bigger radishes. Small and quick, they have to be in before September 15th if you want to get any type of return on them. You can also direct seed some beets out here, but when it gets this hot, they're really hard to germinate. I'm also going to do a couple spinach experiments out here this year. So I'm going to plant one at my mid-September date, one at my mid-October date, and then one at a mid-November date, and just kind of see what happens. That'll fill this whole entire block. It'll remain on overhead irrigation, just like everything else out here. And I'll really have to watch and kind of mitigate what happens with the environment and how much it needs irrigated. I can go into irrigation and the whole thing through the winter, but we'll save that for a different time. So, I mean, that's pretty much the plan. We're getting things cleared out. I got my little grassy path, got kale, those are cleared. There's a zucchini outside. And then we're working on our green beds. This is awesome. Next week, we'll talk about this. This has been a working process. 100-degree heat out here for almost 3 weeks. And I've got beautiful beds of lettuce growing. I've got direct seed stuff. So stick around and come back next week and we'll talk about that and really show you what the process is on that and what I have learned to really make it successful. So, as always, hope y'all liked what we saw today. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank y'all. Have a good day.